So you got too much
kingdom of heaven, hey, look,
too much
when
work.
I,
He read the verse, man.
when the kingdom is established, we're gonna get women when they 12 years old.
Right.
All right.
Say it again.
As soon as they start in the kingdom of heaven, when their period starts, that's when they become a woman.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna deal with them when their period starts.
Right.
When their monthly starts.
Question.
Have sex with them. Have babies, man.
With 12-year-olds?
Brother, there's in the kingdom we're gonna do that, man. We're gonna get them young.
Where's this
We're gonna get them young.
And the kingdom is
the kingdom is right here, but the Most High is gonna establish the kingdom, all right?
Can I say something?
Don't look up in Google women that were pregnant under the age of 12. You got a 9-year-old woman that were pregnant. You got 11-year-old that were pregnant.
Yeah.
As soon as they get their period, they become a woman.
When did
all right?
Shalom, all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. This is your brother Ayathun, and I would like to speak upon the topic which was discussed in the video clip you just saw. Now, these guys at the House of Consciousness, specifically Bro Polight and this guy Sonetta, have a problem with us teaching that a woman is ready for sexual intercourse at a young age. We usually say the age of 12, but that age is subjective to that individual because they reach puberty at different ages. Some reach it a little earlier, some reach it a little bit later, especially nowadays with the hormones and the foods, and the women's bodies act differently than they did years ago. Now, for years, GMS have been teaching that in the kingdom of heaven, that we're going to be getting women at a young age, around 12. Like I said, subjective age, that's a general number. But these guys, they seem to have such a big problem with it, right? Now, this guy, Bro Polight, he's always backing up his arguments with science. So the one thing I have with him on this topic, what scientific document or study do you have to back you up that a woman's body, when she starts menstruating, is not ready for sex and is not ready to have a baby? If she starts menstruating, the process of menstruation means what? She's producing eggs. When a woman is producing eggs, what does that mean? If you introduce that egg to some sperm, she's going to get pregnant. And the only way a woman can get pregnant, or the natural way for a woman to get pregnant, is what? Through intercourse. So from this, we can conclude what? That a woman starts having a menstrual cycle and is producing eggs. She's ready to receive sperm, meaning she's ready to have sex, right? So that's science. That's common sense, and that's science, my man. You like to talk about common sense. You always like to talk about science. Well, science cuts you, bro. And furthermore, science is bullshit. Now, your problem is, Bro Polight, is that when it comes to topics like this, you come from your own mind. You speak emotionally. When you watch the video, your response and your rebuttals were emotional rebuttals. There's no science to back you up. There's no study, nothing you could pull out your ass to back you up, except how you feel inside. I'm a father. I'm a mother. I'm a brother. You think like a black woman, bro. All right. Now, from a logical standpoint, you got to go to what? You got to go to the laws. Now, the laws of the Bible, when you read 1 Corinthians chapter 7, says, if any man, matter of fact, I'll read it. 1 Corinthians 7 and 36. If any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely towards his virgin, meaning young woman, if she passes a flower for age, meaning her menstrual cycle, her period, and need so require, let him do what he will. He sinneth not. Let them marry. Meaning, marriage is what? Consecrated by sex. So that's that. Now, I did some research on Egypt. Since you like to base most of your ideology on Egypt, you know, you got pharaohs and ISIS all up in your crib, in your household. I did some studying on the ancient customs in Egypt, and this is what I found. I'm just going to go straight into the documents. I will put the links in the description. But this one here, which the title is Egypt, Marriage in Ancient Egypt. Now I'm going to go straight to the point. It says marriage contracts do not generally tell the age of the parties, but we know from other documents that marriage almost always occurred after sexual adulthood. Meaning what? Puberty. The average age for girls to enter puberty was 12 to 13 and around 14 for boys. Did you hear that? This is according to the Egyptian custom. The average age for girls to enter puberty was 12 to 13 and around 14 for boys. So, dude, I don't understand what standpoint you're coming from. Are you coming from the standpoint of the black woman? Or are you coming from a science standpoint? Because from the science standpoint, you're cut. Alright, because biologically, it's proven that a woman can bear children, meaning she's ready for sex, for sperm, when she has a menstrual cycle. Now, if you could come with the argument, well, she's not ready mentally. Well, you know what? That argument is null and void, because years ago, during the biblical times, when the laws of the Bible were actually followed, men and women matured at a much younger age. By the time a man or a woman was the age of 12, 13, 14, 15, they were at a level, they were way past the level of maturity that a grown woman is today. Alright? Back then, a woman knew what her duty was. Today, women have no clue. Even recently, man, if you go back to the 1970s and you find a test, your old test from when you were in 6th grade, take a sixth grader test from back in the 70s and the 60s. A friggin' college student probably couldn't pass that today. So the age, the maturity, back then, women and men were mature at a much younger age. Matter of fact, men were ruling kingdoms at a much younger age back then. So from that standpoint, you're cut. If you want to say they're not ready mentally, you're cut. Now, you're all into that Egyptology bullshit, because that's exactly what it is, bullshit. You're into all that Egyptology bullshit, and according to your own customs, your own people, it is practiced to marry females as soon as they hit puberty, which would be around the age of 12 or 13. So you're cut on that level. You're cut on all levels. Now, it's only since America, because I remember when I was younger, because being brought up here in America, and I'm talking about, let's say like the 80s, I thought it was a sick custom to deal with a woman that was at a young age. But I also remember that was basically only an American ideology. I remember that the Indians, I'm talking about the East Indians, the Arabs, and I remember the surrounding nations, and I'm talking about back then when I was growing up. I remember among them it was still practiced to marry women at a very young age. And that's only a brand new ideology, which has spread from America. So really, man, you're all caught up in this man system. And in your videos, you love to talk about how to be liberated, how to be a free man. You love to talk about common law and statutory law, and how to get the deeds to the house, how to not pay taxes, what a straw man is. But you're all caught up in this man's ideology, in his Egyptology bullshit. Egyptology means bondage. And that's exactly what your mind is in, man. Your mind is in bondage. So let me read the rest of this. It says the average age for girls to enter puberty was 12 to 13 and around 14 for boys. Okay, so that's the point on that. Let me go to another website. This website poses a question. This is about.com. The topic is marriage. The question is, at what age did ancient Egyptians marry? The answer, most girls married young, between 12 and 14. However, their husbands tended to be older, in their 20s. Marriage had no legal or religious constraints. Excuse me. It was more of a private agreement to cohabit. The wedding probably was just a feast with close friends and family members present. So looks in Egypt, it was no great thing for a older man to marry a younger woman because many a times an older man, their wife, they might get a divorce. Because another thing I found out is that a lot of the laws in America regarding marriage and divorce actually stem from Egypt. Egypt had laws regarding divorce. Women were able to divorce. Women were able to sue their husbands. Women were able, excuse me, after divorce, they were allowed to take a percentage of the husband's wealth. All of that stems from Egypt. But it was no big thing in Egypt that an older man whose wife became separated from him, or maybe became deceased, she died somehow. It was no big thing for him to go and marry a younger woman. That was common practice. And actually goes back to the Bible, because in the Bible, you have many instances of that. The story of King David, when he was on his, when he was approaching death, they brought him a young woman. And also, Isaac, you know, when Isaac married, I believe the scriptures say he was 40 years old, and, he married Rebekah, and she was at a young age. Many scholars say that Mary, I'm talking about Mary, the mother of so-called Jesus, who you call Jesus, many scholars say that she had to be around 14 years old. And that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to bring out the facts regarding this matter, and the fact that Bro Polight, especially regarding this matter, he's just full of shit, and he's basing his argument off of emotional, effeminate emotions, how he feels inside. You know, it's not about how we feel, it's about what the scriptures say, man. So Bro Polight, I don't know, man, either humble yourself, or the Lord's gonna humble you, or he might crumble you. Whichever comes first, I don't know. But with that, I'm gonna say Shalom, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Barakathum. Double honors to the elders of GMS. May the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai establish his house, and may he demolish the house of consciousness. With that, I say Shalom.